God bless you, kid. I want to wish everybody, hope everybody's having a very happy Saturday and trying to think positive. I'm going to talk to you about a lot of things. I'm going to get into what prison life really is like, okay? And I'm going to read you things that I believe that Diddy is in the works of trying to accomplish himself because I know that it's possible. And how do I know it's possible? Because it happened to me. And I don't have the influence that Diddy has. I don't have the money that Diddy has. But everyone wants to know what's going to happen to him. He's going to walk, he's going to get 20 years. Folks, I don't know. This is a very, very difficult situation to try to figure out. So, don't hold me to nothing and don't begrudge me for saying my opinion that I have a right to. Okay? But folks, I said it before. I mentioned Senator Schumacher or whatever his name, Schumer. Uh, folks, he recommended Judge Submarine to Joe Biden. Joe Biden appointed him. Whether Joe Biden's got a mind today or not, I don't know. Okay? Got dementia from what I hear. Okay? But his wife's still there. All right? They can make a call to the judge. You got to do something here. And the judge will figure a way out. Okay? It could be time served. Or maybe the judge don't get a call. But believe me, politicians, there's not one single politician that I trust. Not one. I don't know about you, maybe you guys do. That's all entirely up to you. You see that I don't talk a lot about Charlie Kirk? It's all that's on the news. Everywhere you go, it's all they talk about. Me, I did not know who Charlie Kirk was until that day that he became unalive. I never listened to him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know nothing. Okay? Yes, it's definitely sad what happened to this young man. Okay? No, for those of you who listen to Candace Owen, okay, who has her different views, and she comes up with receipts as to why. So is she right? Is she wrong? I don't know. I don't have the answers. Okay? I got a friend texting me, all right, saying that Candace Owen switched sides. Well, this person doesn't watch Candace Owen, doesn't listen to her show, but now she wants to say Candace Owens went from MAGA to liberal. That's not the case. You see how people get things messed up, change their mind because they watch Fox News, Live Nation, CNN, MSNBC, and their brains are getting washed and they're being controlled each and every second. Each and every second that they watch them. Folks, when I turn my TV on, I do have the news. I put it to local news. I want to see what's happening around here, okay? Because I don't trust what they're telling me on the news. It's no longer news. It's just pundits. So, this, and the other thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, we got some people here. Please subscribe if you have not already. All right? Now let's get down to some situation. All right, I'm going to get in. I'm going to read you a letter. All right? See this here? From the Department of Justice. Okay? The date on this here was June 4th, 2008. Okay? Brooklyn, New York. Colombo organized crime family, acting boss, underboss, and 10 other members and associates indicted. Charges include racketeering, conspiracy, robbery, extortion, narcotics, trafficking, and loan sharking. Did you hear those two charges, folks? The robbery and the narcotics was what they had me on. But when you read that indictment, my name is the very last one on that indictment. It's like they just threw me in. And I'm going to get, and I'm going to tell you why and how all that happened. Okay? But, you know, I'm going to just read it. If convicted, defendants Thomas Gioli, Dino Calabro, Joey Case Capitello, Orlando Spado, and Christopher Koranovic face life imprisonment. Defendant Michael Catapano faces 40 years in prison. Life, that's what it was when I was initially locked up in MDC and what they were trying to do. For the charges that I had, I was facing life in prison. Okay? None of us got life. None of us. But that's what they come out with. Okay? That's the first thing before you even see the indictment is the Department of Justice. Who signed that, actually? Well, the guy's named Robert Nardoza. I don't know who he was. Never heard of him after that. He's the one who released it for the Department of Justice. Now, there's a rule that the FBI are supposed to abide by. If they listen to a wiretap and they hear that somebody wants to make somebody else unalive, they are supposed to contact that person and let him know that his life is in danger. Now, this is here by Jerry Capici. He writes in the, I think it's the New York Post, all right? Gangland News. He writes every week. This one goes back November 5th, 2009. Mama Gotti blows a stack. Mob, big OK, hit on juror. All right? I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. All right? Because it goes, the uproar inside the courtroom was almost loud enough to drown out some excitement that emerged the old-fashioned way. From the evidence in this instance, it was a blockbuster revelation 3 years ago following the second Gotti trial. An FBI cooperating witness had reported that then Colombo family underboss Franchise Left had authorized a mob contract on Junior Gotti because he quit the mob. All right, prosecutors reported the threat to the defense 2006. On that very same tape where Guy Furtado was talking, that he was wired up, was where he got permission to unalive me, Ori Spado. And the FBI never informed me. Why? That's in the past. I can't worry about it, but I wanted you to know that. Now, I'm going to tell you what politicians could do. A man, a real man, more man than anybody in organized crime, more man than any gangster you ever read, was a legitimate citizen by the name of Joseph Prevotel. He was president and CEO of the Queen Mary, as well as Leisure Horizons, Inc., out of Long Beach, California. All right? Susan, thank you, Susan. God bless you, kid. Susan just gave me $9.99, folks. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, folks, it's the only way I make money on YouTube, because I can't figure YouTube out. I'm not going to get into it, okay? It's so... I don't know if anybody actually knows the real way that YouTube pays people. I don't know it, and I'll never know. Let me tell you what Joe Prevotel. When I began at the Queen Mary in Long Beach, as you all know, I provided all the entertainment down there. I did all the exhibits, okay? I did the Titanic, I did the Treasures of Russia, World of Reggae, featuring Bob Marley. I did all these exhibits. And plus, I had weekly entertainment in different rooms up there on the ship on Fridays and Saturdays. I did nothing but make money for them. Okay? Nothing but make money. But from the moment I stepped foot on that ship, the FBI and the local police told Joe Prevotel who I was. They followed me every time I went on that ship. And I tell you, I knew they were there. I didn't bother because I wasn't doing nothing wrong. It was legitimate business, but they were waiting for me to do something illegal, which I never did. Because Joe Prevotel and I became great friends and had a great respect for each other. Joe Prevotel, he knew George W. Bush personally, okay? George W. Bush was actually going to make Joe an ambassador to Czechoslovakia. Did I say it right? At one time. And Joe, through Leisure Horizon, donated a lot of money to the Republican Party, and particularly to 2 congressmen out of Orange County. I will not give you their name. You can go back to those dates and figure out who they were if you want to know. And Joe thought it was wrong that I be indicted. He was trying to help me. He's the first person to step up to the plate, one of the first, and wrote a check to my lawyer for $5,000, okay? Amongst a lot of other people who helped with legal fees. See, I wasn't Diddy, I didn't have the money, okay? But a lot of friends put up money for my legal defense, okay? You're right there, Agent Orange. They're supposed to notify. They didn't notify me. They wanted me to become unalive. They didn't care. Okay? They operate within their own. Didn't work, did it? So, Joe's first meeting was he wanted to see the paper, what they were indicting me for, and he wanted these two senators, or congressmen, all right, to assist. He flew to Washington to have a meeting with him. And then at the meeting, they were quite nervous. So they had a representative from the Department of Justice. And Joe told me this story. He said, Ori, they came in, Department of Justice had a file like this, all on you, of everything they thought I did in my life or whatever. But Joe Previtel looked at that person from the Department of Justice and said, I don't care what you have in that file. I personally know Mr. Spado, and he's not what you're saying he is. We don't need you at this meeting. Please leave. And the person from the Department of Justice leaves. And then Joe looks at these two congressmen. He said, I'm going to ask you one question. Do you enjoy the checks that I send to support you guys? Yes, sir. Well, if you want them to continue, you're going to do what I say. And they did. And how did they help me? Well, let's begin when I was in Lompoc. When I was in Lompoc, medical care it's horrendous. You got the worst medical care in prison than you could ever imagine. Most of the people that work in the medical department are foreigners from another country, okay? Doctors who couldn't be doctors in this country, and now they're nurses. Yeah, I'm serious, okay? Those kind of things. Wasn't a good thing. And then me. One time in Lompoc, they had to take me out to a doctor. Folks, by the time you leave MDC Brooklyn and you get to a prison, okay? Normally when they take any other inmate out, they put cuffs on you. And they put you in a van and two guards drive you there to the doctors. Not with me. They put the cuffs, they put the chains, and they put the shackles. And I'm driving. Why you guys doing all this bullshit with me here? I'm just here doing my time. Oh, Mr. Spado, you got a violent record. Because I had a crime that said it's a violent crime. Because somebody said he saw me give a gun to my co-defendant. And that became a violent crime. Of which I got a minimum mandatory sentence for. You will not find in any police record, federal record, a real crime of anything that I did. You won't find it. It don't exist. But that's a violent crime. How many times do we hear about guns with Diddy? I can't count them. can't count the number of times. Yes, Aussie said he's done lots of crimes, never got caught. You're a lucky man, and I hope that you have stopped, okay? Because eventually they do get you. Trust me on that there, okay? They didn't indict me for all the things I did. They indicted me for things that they made up, okay? I'm going to read you a letter that Joe Prevotel wrote to Newton Kendi, MD, Health Services Division, Central Office, Bureau of Prison, Washington, D.C., USA versus Orlando Spado. Dear Dr. Kendi, I'm writing you on behalf of Orlando Spado, age 66, who was incarcerated at the Federal Correction Institution in Lompoc, California. Since his sentencing on September 7, 2010 by the Honorable Judge Brian M. Cogan, United States District Judge, United States District Court, Eastern District of New York. The judge noted in the sentencing transcript that Mr. Spado has a number of ailments, the most grave being congestive heart failure, diabetes, and prostate issues. His prescriptions alone attest to the seriousness of his conditions. Judge Cogan therefore recommended that he be promptly designated to a facility in the Los Angeles area with adequate medical facility to treat his many conditions. That facility should have been the Federal Correction Institute on Terminal Island in San Pedro, California. Folks, San Pedro is south of here, right near Long Beach. It's like a 45-minute drive. All right, and it's close to hospitals and everything else. And my judge recommended that I be sent there. But the Bureau of Prison did not send me there. They sent me to Lompoc. All right, Susan, you lived in San Pedro. Big Italian community in San Pedro. They sent me to Lompoc, which is way up north, and Lompoc happens to be the most furthery west point of the United States. It's like sits out in the ocean there. Yeah. Lompoc is an isolated institution over 3 hours from Los Angeles, 1 hour from Santa Barbara. There is no appropriate hospital in the city. If he had a heart attack, Santa Barbara is the closest hospital with appropriate medical treatment and personnel. I do not know why he wasn't sent to Terminal Island. His family and I are very concerned, particularly with the heart and diabetes condition. His release date is December 12th, 2nd, 2012. And he'll be eligible for release to the community. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. I had no blemish at all on my prison record. But I had to do an extra 6 months. Yeah. It goes on that I deserve, all right? But what happened was, after he wrote this letter, then he called those 2 congressmen. And trust me, I'm laying in my butt, and I start hearing my name, because they got these loudspeakers, in prison. I hear, Spado, report to the medical unit. Spado, report to the such and such consulate. Oh, what the freak is going on over here? I get up, I go to the medical, and guess who's there? All right, from across from at Lompoc, you got a camp similar to where they got Ghislaine Maxwell in Texas. Okay, there's no fence around it. Okay, inmates can come and go. It's like an honor system thing. Then you got the medium with several fences and barbed wire. That's where I was. Then they have the USP, all right, which primarily all cells, no dorms, and it's for higher crime inmates, may I say. Originally, it was built to replace Alcatraz. So, that's how that works. So Joe Prevotel, I just found out, he and I had lunch and dinner. Folks, I took a plea deal. For 97 to 110 months. Normally you get the lower side, I would have gotten 97 months. Okay? Aussie Jace, you calling me a rat? You punk? Huh? You want me to send you a book? I don't want you to read my book. Call me a rat. I just read my paper. You're such an idiot. Who is this, Lindy? Aussie. Take him out of here, okay? Take Aussie out, Lindy. I don't want to see him, okay? Hi, Pamela in Detroit. You don't see him, he's right there. He's a top fan. I don't know. Can't figure this out. So anyways, don't worry about it. I don't care. Now you calling me a rat, Aussie? Oh, come on, Aussie. I wish we could talk to each other. Because I wasn't a rat. My name's not Michael French Hayes. My name is not Sammy Gravano. My name's not Dominic Ciccali. My name is not Johnny A. My name is Orlando Ori Spado. I would never rat, testify, or give information on anybody. Never have, never will. I'm a real man. Like it, don't like it, I really don't care. Okay? Here I am. I got all my documents, all my paperwork, and somebody wants to call me a rat. Folks, you don't go through prison unless you have your paperwork to show that you're not a rat. I was always in general population. All right? Let me explain. All right? General population is where you're with all the other inmates. Why do they put people in the SHU? You hear Michael Franchi talk about all the time that he did in special housing or the SHU. He gives you a different reason. The real reason is because he was a known informant. And they had to put him there to protect. He couldn't be in general population. You understand the difference? How prisons work? All right? So, yeah, he's got over 1 million subscribers and he's good at what he does and all that there. Okay? And he's good, very good with his words and how he explains things. And got a lot of people to believe it. Like a lot of people believe me. I come and tell you the truth. I don't hide nothing. I got nothing to hide. How many people can say that? Now I'm going to read you a letter. Another letter from Richard Lynn, who was Sonny Francese's lawyer. This is dated May 23rd, 2010. Dear Judge Kogan, I am the CJA attorney, court appointed, that means, for federal. Sonny had a court appointed lawyer. A lot of your big gangsters have court appointed lawyers, and a lot of them are good, okay? I am the CJA in the above referenced case. I submit the letter in response to the motion and limonene. All right, limonene motions, folks, are the last motions before trial that the judge will listen to. Filed under seal by co-defendant Orlando Spado on May 19th. In his motion, Spado signals that he may seek to cross-examine government witness Guy Furtado about a conversation he had with defendant Michael Catapano on August 9, 2006, which is commemorated in Furtado's 3500 material. Furtado was an informant that Sonny Francese endorsed, stamped that he's a good guy, just like he did with his son. He's a good guy. Both of them were informants, plus others. The Sonny Francese. And I'm going to talk about how Sonny Francese created more rats than the government. Although Sonny was never one. I don't want you to mistake that. Catapano relates that he allegedly had already received authorization to kill Spado from Francese, and that if Francese found out that Spado was in the middle of a drug deal, he would surely be killed. Spado memo also refers to other tape recorded conversations in which Catapano and Francese supposedly threatened to kill Spado. I'm here. They didn't come to me. I'm going to tell you how all that worked. In light of Spado's submission, defendant Francese seeks either to preclude such cross-examination or the introduction of evidence relating to Francese threatening to kill or killing anyone, or a severance pursuant to Rule 14 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. All right, so in other words, what they were trying to do was trying to keep me from not using that there information to defend myself. And at the end of it, Richard Lynn is asking the judge to recuse Sonny Francese from the trial, when in fact he's listed on the top underboss of the Colombo family. The judge denied that. And that saved me, folks. That saved me. And how it did was because the judge said, I read Mr. Spado's motion last night about his case being transferred to Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is where a jury of his peers would be. He says, I think maybe Mr. Spado should be severed from this trial. He says, we're adjourned until noon tomorrow. And tell the U.S. attorney, try to convince me why not to sever Mr. Spado. Next day, we're back in court. He said, Mr. Spado, do you understand that that discovery that you want to use could be used for you or against you? He said, if you could explain it to me in legal terms. I said, yes, Your Honor. I said, it's inculpatory or exculpatory. And I explained the difference. He said, Mr. Spado, I'm convinced you know the law. Do you want to be severed? I said, yes, sir, Your Honor. Boom. I was severed from that trial. If I was not severed from that trial, folks, I would have ended up getting maybe 30 years. And that's when I got the offer of a plea deal of 97 to 110 months. But I ended up with 62 months. How? Why? I will tell you in another Stories with Ori. Okay? I'm not going to tell you today, but I'll tell you, it was a politician and as high as you can get. Everybody have a blessed weekend. I got a lot of more paper, but you don't want to listen to me reading you all day long. I want everybody to have a great weekend. God bless you all. Thank you all. If I get a little upset at times, then I apologize, okay? I'm not perfect, but when somebody calls me a rat, it infuriates me, okay? Because people have done that before, all right? It's like the people who call me racism, that I'm racist, okay? I never done or had any racial against anybody in my life, okay? Folks, I'm probably one of the last men standing here, okay? But I wanted you to know about Joe Prevotel, who he was a true man. A true man. He's what a true man is. Not these gangsters, okay? He was a true man. And we don't have those men no more in this country. Or in this world. God bless you all my love and respect. Take care.